And then Michael and Ed can sign in when they come on. Does that sound good?
Sure.
Okay.
I just got a text from Michael saying he's unable to attend at the moment. He's held up with something, so
Oh, that's right. That's right. That was right. He
may or may not
may or may not. So that's okay.
tell him. But we do have Lisa and Ed. I'm not sure. I'll
I'm
tell
here.
Ed while you start.
Yeah, Lisa's here now.
I'm just not on video. I'm trying to eat my lunch quickly.
Yeah, I'm going to do that in a bit. So if I go off, it's because I'm eating lunch. But let me text Ed, and you can go ahead and start.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to start with the script. Okay, I'm going to go through the public participation guidelines. We are using Zoom webinar for meetings, which allows for the public to participate in the meeting as an attendee. Attendees must register to participate. The registration link is unique to this meeting. The registration link can be found in the description of the Nantucket Government TV YouTube live feed for the meeting. People registering to be an attendee must use their names, otherwise they will not be allowed to participate in the discussion. Attendees will join in listening mode. They can click the raise hand button if you wish to speak. The chair, that's me, will call on those who have raised their hands in the order they were raised. And as I say every meeting, be patient with that. And Eleanor also keeps an eye out for those in case I miss someone. The YouTube chat feature will no longer be enabled, and all questions should be directed through the chair. Confirming member access. As a preliminary matter, my name is Susan McCarthy. I'm the sitting chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Please permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Lisa Botticelli.
Aye.
Ed Toole.
Aye.
Karim Kosayatak.
Aye.
Mark Poor.
Aye.
Jim Mondani.
Aye.
And Jeff Thayer.
Aye.
Okay. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Eleanor Antonietti.
Nice pronunciation. Very good.
Thank you.
I'm here.
Okay. Anticipated speakers on the agenda, please respond in the affirmative. Please note that some of these people may not be logged in at the time that I'm doing this. They may log in later, or there may be others who log on who are not on the list. Arthur Reed, attorney for 39 Meadowview Drive.
Arthur, you are, I'm trying to unmute you. I see you in the attendee area. You should be a panelist. You would have gotten a second email, as would have Mr. DiBiasco. Can you hear me? I'm trying to get it. There he is. Okay. Go ahead, Arthur.
Oh, good.
He's there.
Can you move on, Mr.
He's there.
Can you move over to? Okay.
Yeah, Frank took care of it for me.
Okay, great.
So they should be able to talk.
Okay. Okay. Linda Williams, representative for 32 Equator Drive.
Here.
I'm going to try this pronunciation, but I think I'm going to do it wrong. Is it Aisling Glenn, owner of 32 Equator Drive, and Bill Kauser, owner of 32 Equator Drive? I think you guys are together.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Aye.
Okay. Rick Bodette, attorney for 4 Lincoln Ave. May not be on yet.
Yep, here.
Oh, okay, great. Okay. So good afternoon. This open meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals is being conducted remotely consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend all public gatherings. And as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment as previously noted. For this meeting, the Zoning Board of Appeals is convening by video conference via Zoom app, as posted on the town's website identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other people may be able to see you or will be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast will be captured on the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided the members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. We're now going to turn to the first item on the agenda. Before we do, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. And please remember to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate meeting minutes. That includes giving your name. For any response, please wait until I yield the floor to you and state your name before speaking. Sorry. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please do so through me taking care to identify yourself. And each vote for this meeting will be done by roll call vote. Okay. So this is the regularly scheduled monthly meeting of the Town of Nantucket Board of Appeals. Today is Thursday, April 8th, 2001, and it is 1:09. The minutes were not included, Eleanor, for us to go over, and I think we had some held over from February as well, so we can do those for at the May meeting.
Yes, we'll have February, May, and February, March, April.
Okay, that's fine. So we have no old business this month. So turning to new business, the first application before us is application 06-21, Jane C. DeBazio and Brian F. DeBazio, 39 Meadowview Drive, Arthur Reed presenting for the owners. Arthur, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good. I've often had difficulty with that when I'm on a Zoom call for some reason, even when I'm not muted. Okay, this is an application to remove a condition from an old ZBA decision affecting this property. Property is located 39 Meadowview Drive, belongs to my clients, Brian and Jane DiBiasio, who are on this call as well. The structure in question is a garage studio, which was constructed pursuant to a ZBA decision in 2011. The site is very much constrained by wetlands. A large part of the lot is wet. It backs up to so-called Lake Sylvia in the back. And the septic system on the property until recent sewer connection was therefore a constraint on the addition of any additional bedrooms to the site. So when the original decision was entered by the board allowing the construction of the structure, the relief was granted from the side yard setback distance of 10 feet, which normally is the case in this R20 district. But as you know, the ZBA can waive that down to 5 feet. And that was done in order to enable the structure to be constructed, again, because of the constraints upon the site caused by the wetlands. That was the reason why the relief was necessary and why the board granted it. And of course, there was at that time, because there was no sewer available to the site, no intention to use the building for anything other than studio garage, no human habitation. So that condition was included in the decision. Now the site is connected to the sewer. The house is connected to the sewer and the studio is connected to the sewer. We therefore have gone before the planning board and have obtained from the planning board secondary dwelling approval and relief for the separation between the main house and the structure, which now will become a secondary dwelling. And therefore, we're asking the ZBA, since the planning board under the bylaw had exclusive jurisdiction over the question of separation between the structures. However, the ZBA decision still is in existence with regard to the not for human habitation provision, and that has to be removed by the ZBA rather than by the planning board. So therefore, we're before the board to ask that that be removed in connection with the conversion of the structure to a secondary dwelling as approved by the planning board. Again, I can answer any questions that you have, and my clients are also on the line and can do so as well. Thanks.
First, I want to say sorry, I kind of butchered the last name when I said it to start. So I apologize for that. Eleanor, was there anything else besides what was included in the back of the staff report for the planning board approval? I just saw the
No, the special permit has not yet been drafted, but it's in the works. Staff is pretty overwhelmed right now, believe it or not. But it's in the works, and I have confirmed that approval did take place with the planning board administrator.
Okay, great. Thank you.
For both the scalar separation waiver and the actual secondary dwelling.
Okay. So I looked back at the other decisions. Of course, now I looked at my paper. So for 2000, the one in 2019, it seems like this was just basically, perhaps if they had been allowed to ask for the secondary dwelling, they would have if it wasn't for the no sewer and no town water when they first applied. It looks like the board, I read through the decisions, it didn't look like the board had any objections to removing the other three conditions in 2019. Jim, Michael, Jeff, and Ed all voted on that one in the affirmative. In 2011, we have Karen, Michael, and Ed were affirmative on that one. I don't have any issues with this one. I can go through and see. Lisa, do you have any questions on this one or any comments for Arthur or the owners?
No, I mean, it seems pretty straightforward.
Okay, yeah. Ed, did you have anything on this one that you wanted to comment or question about?
Yeah, now maybe I'm misunderstanding something and I can't see all the files for some reason, but is there some reason, I don't remember it, but that it was tucked back in this corner and not elsewhere outside of the setback? It just feels a little bit like death by a thousand cuts. So I just want to understand why it isn't that. Does that make any sense?
It's pretty constrained by wetlands over there, Ed, I think.
Right, but the
I don't think
plan
there's
I'm
a lot of
looking at,
room.
which I can't see, I mean, I can't see where the wetland line is.
Eleanor, can you put that up for us? Are you looking at are you looking at Ed, are you looking at page 7 of the packet?
I thought I was looking,
Or
well, now I'm looking at Eleanor's thing, but
You see it, Ed? It's on the screen now.
yeah, I see it, but I don't see any demarcation as to where the wetland boundary is.
I think that shows on page 11 of the staff report with
Right.
the 2011 decision.
So Eleanor, if you could kill it, yeah, thanks.
But I agree with you, Ed. When I read through this at first, I was, it seemed a little bit like, every little trying to come back and get more and more, but then seeing that it was because of the town, seemingly because of the town water and sewer, it seemed to make more sense to me.
Yeah, if you take a look at that plan that's attached to the 2011 decision, as you can see, most of the lot is wet. You have Lake Sylvia, so-called, in the back, and then you have wetland symbols all over that plan. So that at that time, the structure, and bear in mind, we're dealing with an existing structure here. The structure was placed pursuant to the ZBA decision over in the location where it was. I mean, because there was no other reasonable place that the structure could be constructed at that time. The point being, we're dealing with an existing structure here, and the use of the structure has been constrained by the fact that it, as long as it was not connected to the sewer, couldn't contain a bedroom. Now it's connected to the sewer, it's an existing structure, and all we want to do is to enable it to be used as a secondary dwelling. It meets all the requirements that the planning board has as to access and as to parking, and simply we have that condition, which we think is obsolete, that there be no human habitation.
Right, am I on? Yeah, I'm on. Yeah, now that I see the 50-foot mark and I see the constraints, I understand, and I do believe that if we had added, if that had, I can see my way. Let's just, I'll stop my mumbling.
Arthur, is there a basement in this garage?
No,
Is there any plans to, so we
my
could,
client has his hand up, by the way, and I think would like to make a comment.
okay. Let me just make sure I pronounced it correctly this time. Mr. DiBiasio?
Yes, Brian
Okay.
DiBiasio here.
Sorry, I
If I
tried to
may,
write it
Madam-
phonetically.
That's okay, Madam Chair. It's a tough name to pronounce. It's tougher spelling it as well. Mr. Toole, as far as why the structure was put there, we approached, we did it by the book when we wanted to put a second a garage up. We went to the Conservation Commission knowing that we were on our property abutted wetlands and the structure is within the 50-foot boundaries, which today would not be allowed to be built. And basically, that Conservation Commission came back, they assessed the property, we had soil tests done, and that is where they would allow us their permit to put the structure up, which is why it's in its present location.
Yeah, no, I can see it now, but now that I see the map clearly, I mean,
Okay.
the plan.
Do you have any feeling, Ed, that, or anyone on the board, and I didn't finish going through the list, but that we should limit it to the 1 bedroom?
I think that's reasonable. I think that, yeah, I think if it came to us originally, we might have, impose that.
Okay, so let me just continue down the list then. Karen, did you have any comments or questions for either Mr. Reed or the client, the owner?
No, I did not.
Okay. Mark?
No comment.
Okay, Jim?
Just a couple. The water and sewer was definitely added after this decision.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't see that in the documentation. Then it's a little off topic, but I count 5 structures on the property. There's 3 sheds. Is that by right, or? There's a lot of structures.
We're not over ground cover, so the answer would be yes. You can have any number of sheds on the property. The only
Okay.
place where that comes into
Yeah,
issue is if you're pushing your ground cover.
and one of them is noted as excluded and the other are included,
Okay.
Right.
ground coverage.
Okay.
Were they
And the
all,
ground cover isn't changing by anything we're doing now either.
Yeah,
again, I'm not sure I'm looking at the proper plan. I see, 1, 2, those were built before or with Concom approval?
I don't know. That I don't know about. What is that?
Brian?
Those structures were already, when we purchased the property in 2008, those structures were existing. Actually, there were more than that. We had several removed as part of our conditions to purchase, but those were existing structures on the property when we purchased it back in 2008. One was rebuilt because it was in bad repair, and we rebuilt one of them. But again, those are all existing. There were, in fact, I believe, 2 additional ones that were used as storage sheds, which we had removed when we purchased the property originally.
The plan from 2011 shows 2, not the third one.
Yeah.
Did you already own the property in 2011? Yeah, you did. Your name is right
Yes,
on
we
it.
did. Yes, that's
So
the
a
one
third-
that was taken down, and basically it was, we took it most of it down and then rebuilt it, so it was excluded from the one plan back in 2011. Correct.
Well,
So,
it was
wait.
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I think what you were going to say. So the plan that the plan that was approved did not show that shed. And that shed you rebuilt in the wetlands area with Concom approval?
Yes, it was an existing footprint that was already there for a shed, and we basically just rebuilt it in the same spot.
Did you
Well-
go to the Conservation Commission and get approval to do that?
Yes,
And you obviously have evidence of that we can attach to this because
Yeah,
it's
I think we
very
would want
odd.
to see that because the plan that was presented to us in 2011 that we approved this being moved did not show that.
I
that
don't
shed.
have the evidence in front of me. No, I do not. I
Arthur,
believe
is that something-
I spoke with them, and they basically had said it was, they saw the old plan, the old property that was there, and they said there was no problem with it. I don't know if I have documentation of it or not. But again, we did everything by the book. When we did all of our work on the property, we bought the property in 2008. It was a complete fixer-upper. And we did things in time as we could afford to do them, fortunately or unfortunately. And that was one of the last things we did.
Yeah, it seems to me that, when we get something like this, there's usually a little bit of a trade-off. So the fact of like us reducing the setback, we would probably want to minimize the presence of other things that are non-conforming, including, structures that are in wetlands, I would think. I don't know,
Well, Arthur, is that
Not a
something that you can quickly look up and see if there's something recorded?
I'm looking at an order of conditions that is pertaining to, which is the most recent one recorded on the certificate of title, a 2011 order of conditions pertaining to,
and it is on the plan from 2019 attached to the 2019 plan.
can you hear me, Susan?
Yeah,
Okay, sorry. The order permits the construction of a studio game room outside of 50 feet from the vegetated wetland. Also permits the removal of dead trees, replanting with native vegetation, the ongoing maintenance of the existing structures. So that's sort of, and
Does
then
it show a plan?
lawn area and garden area.
I'm not hearing anything that pertains
That's
to
good. So it's dead.
rebuilding that, quote unquote, rebuilding that building. If it's not on a plan in 2011, and now it is in 2018, I don't think you get the freebie if
Right.
you indeed got permission from the Concom to put this basically in the wetland. It goes, if I'm looking at this correctly,
Over the 50-foot setback, yeah. Over the
not
wetland.
it's not the 50-foot setback, it's the wetland line.
yeah.
Fine.
That's not a zoning issue.
Excuse me?
None of this is a zoning issue, of course.
It's a zoning issue, but if I see something that I don't think was done properly, why should I bless something else? So if you can prove, I guess what I'm saying is prove that you have permission or show us that you had permission for this other stuff before we give you something else.
Agreed.
But I'm only one member, so.
Well, I do think that it makes sense, anytime we bless a site plan that shows something, we're certainly not the Conservation Commission, but it's nice certainly for it to be presented accurately with what's, been done with permission. The assumption is that it was done with permission, but so I think as part of the decision, if we were to grant this, we would have to have proof of that it was done, that it was asked for and granted by the Conservation Commission. Maybe it's an RDA that wasn't, because they don't file those. Who knows?
That's right.
So, but
Which structure are we talking about?
the one that's the zoning shed doesn't show up in 2011, and it shows
Yeah.
up after that,
Half in the wetland and half out.
half in the wetland. Yeah.
I agree with Lisa and Ed. I would prefer though I would prefer to continue it though, rather than grant the relief and then,
Absolutely.
yeah, I'd rather.
I would be with you. I'm not prepared to grant the other relief until this is taken care of. And I don't think you can, I think you need, if you're going to go to the Concom to get approval, I think it has to be made clear to them that in 2011, that shed was not there. And how did that shed arrive in 2018? If the record of the Concom meeting was such that it showed that it was always there, it has to show that it wasn't there in 2011. In my mind.
And yeah, I don't disagree with you, but maybe there was talk that it was there, then it got taken down and just rebuilt. So there should be an aerial that shows it.
Well, that's not exactly what I heard. We don't know when it was taken down. We only have a plan in 2011 where it doesn't show, and we don't know where. I mean, you don't, generally speaking, you don't get to say there was a shed here sometime. I don't know exactly when, and I want to rebuild it now.
No. I thought that the homeowner said that he had taken it down, but maybe I misunderstood him.
No, you're correct. I remember that now, but I don't know when.
Right, exactly. We don't know. I'm just trying to see if I can.
And I
I don't
think,
think it should be, man, I don't think it should be that big of a deal to just continue it to have that
Cleared up.
information, just so we can close the loop. Did you want to speak again, Brian?
Yes.
Okay.
Do you have any aerials showing the property in 2008?
I'm looking it up right now.
It goes back to 2007 and then 2000 jumps to 2011. And 2007, it does look like there is a structure there. You bought in 2006, correct?
2000, we bought it in 2008.
Oh. Oh. Is that what that is?
What I'm looking at, hold on a second.
Can you share your screen, Lisa?
Yeah, I don't think I see a structure there, but let's see. Right, wouldn't it be like right about here? Or is that it? I can't, it's hard to tell.
I'm
That's it
thinking
that you're seeing, yeah.
I think that's it.
You'll see there's actually several structures there. You'll see the two sheds There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4 sheds, 4 structures that were there.
Right in this corner. One is
Yes.
still here, which is probably that.
Yep,
These are gone.
It looks smaller, what you have there now than what was there in
Well,
2007.
it looks
That's
more
correct.
square. This is
Yeah.
longer. And now what's there looks like it's more square.
I used to live in that neighborhood and walk down there with my kids all the time. I do remember seeing a lot of sheds.
yes.
Let's see.
Sound like Linda.
It's Williamsburg.
The aerial from, it's there in 2003. And it's not there in 98, I think is what I'm on now.
And
Right.
what about so
2011 to 12.
It's hard to tell there. That's a blurry. It's a dark image in 2011, 12, so it's kind of hard. There is a shadow there, but it's hard to tell if it's a structure.
I don't think it's there. It doesn't
don't
look
think
like
it's
it's
there.
there. And then can you go to the next one?
2014.
It's there, 2014.
Hold on, let me close that one. Is it there?
It doesn't look like it's there.
This looks like a pile of junk to me.
Yeah.
No, that's it. That's it in 2014, right in there.
Yeah, which is the
Can you go bigger,
I
Lisa?
can't, no, it says
That's
large.
as big as it gets.
Yeah.
It doesn't look
Oh,
like a
no.
structure there.
It might have been when we were starting to rebuild. I don't remember exactly when we rebuilt.
Well, it looks like the garage is under construction, right?
Well, it's tarped or something. It looks like it's got a tarp over it.
That's correct. 2014 was when we started working on that.
And then what
I don't know
about
if I started cleaning it up and getting it ready back then or not. I really don't recall exactly when.
Well, it looks like the shed was demolished during that time because that.
Yeah, let's
doesn't
go to
look
this
like-
one. And there it's back in 2018.
Right, but it looks
Over
totally
there.
different. It's definitely more square. It was definitely more rectangle in the earlier ones.
Yeah, it was large. We got this, we reduced the sizing of it as well and just,
all I'm saying is, I don't think you can do that without permission. And
I
if
agree.
you have permission from the Concom, that's fine. If you don't, you either have to obtain it or remove the building. So if you can, or I for one, am not prepared to vote for the other issue.
Well, I think what we need to do at this point, I hear what all of you are saying, notwithstanding the fact that this is not a zoning issue. I understand where you're all coming from on it. And accordingly, I think we need to continue to the next meeting in order to get to the bottom of this situation and be able to respond definitively as to exactly what the situation is and where we go from there on as to that issue.
Madam Chair, can I make?
Sure. Yep, go ahead, Jim.
Not to belabor this shed issue, but I lost my train of thought. Oh, have the square footages, the ground cover numbers been updated now that this is no longer a shed, it's a structure. I think only one, the other sheds would count toward ground cover. Is that not right? Did I not read this? One.
That's right.
You could have one shed, the others would count toward ground cover. I just
Okay.
want to make sure that when
Right.
you come back, those numbers are updated, because it's not clear to me that they are.
The plan that's before you now, the January 7, 2021 plan by Jeff Blackwell,
Mhm.
which shows all three sheds with the one. I'm sorry?
What page is that? The one you're referring to? What page?
Yeah,
I don't have it
have
as
the
a
packet.
page. I have it.
Yeah, page 7
just
of
did
I'll
the.
my
share it.
file.
Hold on, I'll share it.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, you got it. Can we see yeah.
Yeah, that's the plan. This is an oversized lot.
Yes,
The
plenty of
lot
ground coverage.
contains 40,000 square feet. Ground cover, permitted ground cover is 12.5%, and the actual ground cover, as calculated, is 4.8%. So way below the amount of ground cover
Yeah,
that we could have on
I
the
wasn't-
site if we had a place to put.
I wasn't suggesting that you were over ground cover. I just wanted to make sure that's all, that number has been updated.
Yep.
To reflect this. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that's the current site plan.
Do any of the board members, anyone else have a question or comment? And I don't see any hands up. If no one has a comment or question. it's-
Susan, Brian,
Oh, sorry, I can't see that. I don't see I
yeah.
don't see that right now. But
Madam Chair, I guess I'm a little confused. I mean, when we bought the property, there were a total of 5 sheds on the property.
Mhm.
We now have 3. I guess I'm a little confused as far as, what the issue. We actually reduced the amount of sheds that were there.
It may not be an issue. It may not be an issue at all. We just want to make sure that it's approved, because when you have, the structure was straddling the wetland line.
Yeah.
And so if you removed it, you would need permission to remove it and rebuild in the wetland area.
In that
And
location.
in that location. So if you just rebuilt it in that location, if you had got permission from the Concom, they may have said, you can remove it, but you need to shift it so it's no longer straddling the line. So we're just asking to see that the Concom actually said, yes, it's fine for you to remove it, and it's fine for you to rebuild it in that location, because we made a decision in 2011 without having all the information. So we're just looking for that. So
Okay.
it seems like no one is, that I can tell, is against what you're asking for relief. We just want to make sure that before we bless this plan and allow the changes, that all the appropriate steps have been taken.
Understood.
So does that make sense? Does that answer your question? Okay.
Yes, it does.
I mean,
Okay.
specifically, Susan, in 2011, that particular plan that was approved,
Mhm.
if I'm looking at this correctly on page 11, there is no shed there.
Right.
And that's
And then
what was approved.
Right.
So,
Yeah. So, and it's in the wetlands. So I think if someone wants to make a motion to continue, we can revisit this in May with a more complete picture of what happened between when it was purchased in 2008 with a shed and in 2019, when there was a shed that was a different square footage, different shape, but still straddling the wetland line.
Madam Chair, may I please say something?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so this applicant was before us not long ago in September 2019 with a different representative to remove and modify other conditions, and it was
Mhm.
approved. And that shed was shown on that plan. So I don't know. I want you to be aware that you all allowed for that modification, that prior modification in 2019.
Right, so I looked at that, and the 2019 plan, it does show, but what the specific, I think the relief was asking those 3 conditions, sorry,
They were relevant to the structure that we're dealing with now.
right, and they were the application was, all we were doing was taking off a I didn't sit or didn't vote on this one because I'm not a signer on it, but the conditions were that there was no bathtub, to remove the condition that said no bathtub or shower. And all we were doing was saying that the footprint, which was supposed to be 582 on the plan that was presented to us, ended up being 595. And the ridge height, which was supposed to be no higher than 23 feet, ended up being like 23.3, I think it was. So those are minor minor conditions to remove. And also, I think they had said it was going to be 5.5 feet from the setback, but it ended up being 5.3. So I don't know what the discussion was in that, but I think that if we catch something that could or should be cleaned up, it's needs to be addressed.
I understand that, but this is not a zoning issue. This is a Concom issue, and we don't really have purview with Concom. I understand what you're saying, but I just want to call that to your attention. We didn't look at it. We weren't concerned with it in 2019.
Well, I don't know that we weren't concerned. It wasn't caught. I don't know. And I think that, yes, it's not a per se zoning issue, but if we're blessing if we're blessing a plan, like there should be no harm in bringing it up to the Concom.
I see no harm in protecting other boards. I would like the Concom to do the same for us if they saw an issue that they thought might be something in Congress. So it shouldn't be a problem if it was approved. If it was not approved by the Concom, then there might be an issue. But I'm ready if you made a motion, Susan, was that a motion?
I mean, I didn't make it, but I can make the motion.
Well, all right, if you are more comfortable with me making.
Yeah.
All right, Ed, why don't you make it, Lisa? You can second and we can.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to, I'm having a mental problem as to what wording you use these days to
Continue.
Exactly. Continue this to the May meeting.
What is the date of the May meeting?
I don't know offhand.
May 14.
May
14?
14th.
13.
Lucky May 13.
So that motion is made and seconded. I will just go down the line. So myself, I, Lisa,
Aye.
Ed.
Sorry, I said I thought.
Sorry. Jim
Aye.
and Jeff. Jeff.
Aye.
Okay, great. Okay, so that motion carries. Then we'll revisit it in May and hopefully it'll be a non-issue.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so next we have application 7-21, William S. Kauser and is it Aisling? Ashling, sorry. Ashling L. Kauser, 32 Equator Drive, Linda Williams presenting for the applicant.
This is really simple compared to the other one. This was relief that the board granted before, reduction, you can reduce in the R20s and the R10s from 10 to 5. They had a relief several years ago for the bulkhead. The ZBA granted them the relief several years ago for a walk down to use the basement per code. As the family expanded, you granted the relief for the walk down. I just had it resurveyed by Paul Santos. You have a new survey which validates everything that was in the previous decision. And it expired before they could build it. And they went back to the HDC recently and got the same relief again on consent. And then we're back here to get the same relief again with exactly the same setback, no closer than 5.4 feet. So it's basically a reissue of something you've already granted. Simply.
So the last decision was no closer than 5.4 feet.
Right, and it's no closer now.
Even though the plan said that the Bilco was 6.6 feet away.
Yeah, and they came back and got relief to go to 5.4 when they took the Bilco out and put the walk down in. That's what they're proposing to do now.
Oh, I see.
Before it expires.
Right.
Yeah, the original was the Bilco and then the second decision was the 5.4.
So the
Linda.
plan that we're looking at is the Paul Santos plan, which is at page 29 of the staff report. Correct?
Yes. That was just
We're
completed.
not looking at the, I don't know whose plans these are, the architectural plans. I don't recognize the title block.
So I guess Linda, if this is, why are they here? I guess like,
Because the only ZBA permits last for 3 years. It's been over 3 years, so it technically has expired. So when they went in to get a building permit based on the reissue of the HDC, they found out that they couldn't get a building permit unless they came back and had it reissued again because it expired under state law. You have to activate it, and they never activated it in time.
And what's there now, Linda? Just a bill code?
Yeah, just the Bilco. Nothing's changed on the ground since the last decision, and
Okay,
they'd like to go forward with the project.
okay.
Who's that listed?
So let's see, I know it was a long time ago, but Ed, Lisa, Mark, and Jeff, you guys sat on that decision and signed the decision.
It's quite a while ago.
Yeah, it,
I was still, I think, involved.
I saw your name on one of these.
You were on the earlier one, 94
Yeah.
decision.
And I helped them with the last one, so I'm helping them again with this one.
I don't have any issues with re-granting this relief.
Yeah, I mean, nothing's changing except that, the date, really.
Yep.
Does anyone on the board have any questions or comments for either, for Linda or the homeowners on this one?
no.
Yeah, okay. And was there anything, in the decision, when, like, reading,
No further construction in the setback except for what you're approving. Anything else would have to come back to the board. That was pretty standard stuff.
yeah, so we have attached to the first, so the two conditions basically would remain in place from the was it 2014 decision, and we would just exchange the plan that's Exhibit B for the 2021 plan by Paul Santos.
Yep, that would be Exhibit A,
Exhibit B,
B.
right? I think Exhibit A just shows, well, we have Exhibit A as the existing site plan.
I'm just gonna have
Yeah.
one exhibit with this
Okay.
one. This is Paul's plan.
Then Exhibit A. Okay, so would anyone on the board, if there's no other questions or comments, would someone like to make a motion for this one? Or I don't think, is there anyone else in the public who wanted to speak about this one? Homeowners, anyone? I don't see any hands. Okay.
I'll make the motion.
Lisa's made the motion. Would someone like to second that?
Second it.
Okay, so Lisa made the motion, Ed seconded. I'll just go down. So Ed,
Aye.
Lisa,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye,
and how about Jim?
Aye.
Okay, great.
Thank you, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
you.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so our next and final application today is 0821 EBWC LLC.
And I need to recuse. Do I need to come back on for anything, or should I just sign out?
I don't think so. We don't have any other, I don't think, Eleanor, do you need Lisa back for anything?
No, we have enough members, so she does not have to come back.
All right.
I will
enjoy
see
your
you
afternoon.
later.
Okay, bye, Lisa.
See you next.
So Lisa and Michael had conflicts. So, and this is for Lincoln Ave, and representing is Rick Bodett.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Rick Bodett for the applicant EBWC LLC. The property is located at 4 Lincoln Avenue. It's in the residential 1 zoning district, and the property is an oversized lot. It's 18,000 square feet in the R1 zone, 5,000 square foot zone, and complies to the bylaw currently in all respects, with the exception of one. It is over the height limitation in the bylaw. It's 32.79 feet in a district requiring 30 feet. The house is, I think, over 100 years old, so it's pre-existing non-conforming. And we're here today seeking a special permit because we want to put an addition on this home and alter and extend that non-conformity further to the back of the property, along the same plane of the existing ridge height. Botticelli and Pohl has designed an addition. It's been submitted to the HDC. It's my understanding it's staff for approval. So I think the board has actually approved it. We're just waiting for that COA from the HDC. You will notice on the site plan that Don Bracken prepared that they do have plans to slightly change the grade in the back of the property. You'll notice it falls off, I don't want to say quick, but it goes a couple of feet in a short distance. And the idea is to spread that out in the back. And the net effect of that on the ridge height is it actually, you'll notice on Don's plan, that technically it actually reduces it from the mean grade, slightly, ever so slightly, less than probably half a foot. It goes from 32.79 to 32.46. But nonetheless, since the plan is to just extend that ridge height on the same plane, we wanted to come in here and seek permission. Obviously, we're asking for a special permit. Standard is that it can't be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. We don't believe it is. It's, again, just extending that ridge height along the same plane has been there for 100 years. So I can answer any questions you guys have, hopefully.
Does anyone on the board have a question for Rick?
Rick, what did you say about the HTC? It went through on consent?
No. I think it's been through a couple of hearings, and Ray's office indicated to me that it's at staff for approval. So I think they've made enough changes such that the board sounds like was comfortable enough saying, "Okay, make these changes, and we'll approve it through staff." That's meaning they don't have to come back again.
Do you have any proof of that? Anything like that?
No. Just Tammy's word from Ray's office.
Well, does it make sense, Jeffrey, to extend for a month just after they've gotten that?
Well, I don't think I have a problem with it, but I don't necessarily like to approve these things without HTC approval.
I agree.
I agree.
If I don't know if we can do a contingent on the HTC approval, but it just
I don't think that's
makes sense to anybody, but
I don't think that's a good practice to start. I actually, I don't know if it's just my copy, but it's super, I can't read on like page 60, 61. I can't read any of the text, like the numbers, or it's all blurry.
Is that the site plan?
No, it's the elevations. Cause I can see like it says, I can make out this says like previously submitted. And then I can't tell like so this is, so it's previously submitted existing, and then I think the new proposed, but like I can't make out any of the numbers.
So
and I know I have them. What? Sorry.
That may be due to scanning. I did send today the most recent plans that Botticelli Pohl sent me, and maybe that will help. That might be a little clearer for
Yeah,
you
those
guys.
are way clearer. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
They're way
Bottom picture
clearer.
of what you're looking at, that's where it's extending over.
It would be nice to have some real time to look at them if you're concerned, Susan.
I don't think I'm necessarily concerned, but I would like, I agree with Jeff that I would like to see the HDC approval before we
I absolutely agree
go
with Jeff.
forward. I also, I just feel like it's also, we're putting that on staff that we've approved it, but then we're waiting for HDC, and it makes it, I don't know. I just think it's cleaner to have the HDC approval.
I agree, and I don't think there's any great hurry here. They're in the throes, the beginning of this project, and one more month is not going to matter.
Yeah, this, I will say, this is where Zoom is tough, where like when we're in person, we have the bigger plans and we can really look at them. It's, it makes it a lot.
These clear plans are much easier to read. So
Yeah.
this will also give us an opportunity to take a look at the plans. And
yeah, Eleanor, maybe you can email us these files, like, you know what I mean, instead of them being scanned in the packet. Does that make sense for next time?
Madam Chair,
Yep.
if the staff has indeed approved this, there would be minutes to that effect.
I think what he was saying was that, well, yeah, that's true, I guess, right? That but I think my understanding from Rick was that the board had asked for certain changes, and I don't think staff has, I think what he was saying was staff is still reviewing it, so I don't know that it's.
He said that it's been approved through staff, and if it is, there are minutes.
If I may, Susan.
Sure. Yep.
My understanding is that the board has allowed the changes they requested to be approved through staff. So I don't know that I can say it was approved through staff. I think at that point a COA would issue. But to be honest, Mark would know more about that than I.
The COA wouldn't issue until the plans had been revised accordingly.
Right, and I think these are the revised plans that were submitted to staff.
But we don't know that, Rick. I mean, the paperwork should just be taken care of, and then I certainly don't have a fundamental problem, especially with the type of roof that with the big hips, that the proportion of the building that's going to be over the zoning 30 feet is not going to be that much. So, but I think we should dot the I's and cross the T's personally.
I agree. Does anyone else have any? Does anyone else?
Well, fair enough.
What? I'm sorry. What was that?
I just said fair enough in that case.
Okay.
I was going to ask that we continue then.
Okay. Would someone, do the board have any other questions or comments for Rick before I ask for a motion to continue? No. Is there anyone in the public? I don't see any hands raised, but Eleanor, do you see anybody that?
Nobody attending, so nice and quiet.
Perfect.
Not even Art Gasparo.
Okay, so would someone like to make a motion? Ed, would you like to make that motion to continue?
I'll
or
make
Jeff?
a motion to continue this till, I think it was May 13th.
Mm-hmm. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, so Ed has made the motion, Jeff has seconded. I will go down the line. All those in favor, when I call your name, if you're in favor, say aye. So myself, Aye. Ed,
Aye.
Jeff,
Aye.
Mark,
I guess.
okay. And Karen.
Aye.
Okay. Great. So, Rick, we will see you in May on the
All
13th.
right. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Okay. Thank
See ya.
you. Okay, so that looks like that is it for us today, unless anyone has anything else? No. So I would just ask, since we will next month have minutes from February, March, and April, let's try to get those read and commented on and moved on from if we can.
In an ideal world, Susan, can we get those,
Yeah, I
more
just,
than
I was away, so I couldn't deal with,
No, that's fine. And last month I didn't get a chance to address them. How are you feeling? How's your recovery?
let's talk about something else.
Okay, so yeah, so if you want to send us the minutes from February that we already have, we can work on those early, and you guys can email Eleanor and let her know in advance if there's any comments, if she wants.
I can send you March too. I just have to work with Terry Terry sends them to me and I
Yeah, no
we
rush.
collaborate. So
No
that
rush.
can be also.
Okay, whenever works for you. All right, well then I guess that's it. Does someone want, does anyone have anything else? Last call?
Is
No.
there any, I'm curious, is there any timeline that these meetings are going to become in person?
I have not been made aware of that, but I also have not inquired.
I feel like I feel like it would be we have enough separation, I feel like, at that big table desk and that big room. Like I don't know how anyone else feels, but I would be up for in-person meetings sooner rather than later.
I mean, you could potentially, I don't know if the upstairs room is available. And again, I'm not saying this is even remotely possible. It has to go through town admin and everything, but the upstairs room might be more conducive to social distance if I don't know if we're down to 3 feet now or what, and vaccine passports, et cetera. So there are a lot of moving parts to this. I don't think there's any rush it's maybe Governor Baker who's going to make the determination. I don't think it's left necessary.
Oh, right. So we're still subject to the executive order. So it might not even be an option.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was our own decision. I just wondered if anybody had any information, but it doesn't sound like it.
I haven't heard.
At a social distance at 12 feet, personally.
Believe
So
me, I'm in Wisconsin. That's my distance.
that's a win right there. That's a win.
All right. Well,
Karam, I thought you had that rule even before COVID.
I've been social distancing for 20 years.
I
so.
think you're right. Yeah.
all right. Well, we can all figure that out when the time comes. But I would like to be back in person. I mean, it's whatever. Anyway. All right. Well, then, does someone want to make a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
And a second. Okay. All those in favor? Do we have to do roll? I'm not going to do roll call. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, great, guys. We'll see you in May.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.